Now that enough time has passed, I think it's finally time for us to talk about the new Piccolo and which teams you guys should be using him on. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy, and if you guys haven't already, and if you're confused at any part of how to farm this guy, if you haven't already, check out my video. I'll leave it down below in the description, where I explain in detail all the different things you can do to farm this guy and get him high-end stars, and ultimately get him to that red 7/14 star range. Alright, let's talk about team building for this guy. So I want to ask you guys as well, what team are you guys using him on personally? So when it comes to Piccolo, he does have limitations. So I think that he's actually super duper good, and this may come as a hot take to some, maybe not to others, especially if they watch my other video breaking this specific topic down. But I think that Piccolo may very well be the best purple for a lot of teams, including movies, that you would want to run. Piccolo is actually extremely good. I don't think it's a hot take to say that Piccolo is probably the best free character we've got since Kid Goku, who, if you didn't know, that Zenkai Legends wrote Kid Goku when he got his Zenkai was like Z tier, one of the best like 2 or 3 characters in the game. He was super duper good. So anyway, this guy is insane. So Piccolo, though, like I said, does have limitations, and they're mainly going to be hovering around having 2 allies from movies, event exclusive, or regen. What does that boil down to? Obviously, when you use him on a full movie team, or a full free-to-play character team, or a regen team. There's also some bleed through. You can put him in the leader slot, or put a regen character that's not on movies, I guess, on, like, I don't know, let's just say like Purple Cell. Put Purple Cell in the leader slot on a movie team. That would also meet the criteria for this, something like that, something weird like that. There is some wiggle room, but nonetheless, that does hinder his usefulness outside of that, or on other fun teams like Super Warrior, unless it's going to be like an event exclusive team. You get the point. So I'm not really going to spend a lot of time talking about what Piccolo does in today's video, but like I said, he's extremely good and very, very strong, and I think he's one of the best purples in the game. So when you're looking for a team for Piccolo, we're going to start off with movies. The most important thing you can do is pair him with win conditions, because he himself is not going to be your win condition. I actually want to say that at first I kind of downplayed his own offensive utility in that other video. After using him a bit more, he actually does have solid offensive utility. Anyway, moving on. Beast Gohan there, obvious inclusion. Janemba here, obvious inclusion. If you don't have Janemba, the old Beast Gohan, honestly, is going to pop like crazy. The old Beast Gohan, I said Beast Gohan has aged like fine wine. He actually has. He's overshadowed due to the meta and also being replaced on this movie team. It's funny how in Ultra, you know, Gogeta came out, he replaced this guy, and then this guy gets replaced almost in the same amount of time by another Ultra. This time it's Janemba. It's kind of funny, right? Gogeta, Janemba, same movie. Anyway, this guy, though, super duper strong. And the thing with Piccolo is he makes these characters just hit so much harder. So do consider stuff like that. Now, that's more or less where I would like to go. I like that trio, blue, purple, red, things like that. Now, okay, let me put him back. Now, when it comes to filling out the rest of the team, what would I do? First and foremost, I'm going to dig out Gokua. I would like to really, always have an HP booster on my team, on my bench, just so my characters have a little bit more longevity, they last a bit longer, things like that. That is how I feel most comfortable when it comes to building my team. I'm talking to try to delay this. I can't find it. There he is. Gokua there with that HP and strike attack, I believe. So very, very nice. So max base health, and then also strike attack to Heraclan. So you can actually take Piccolo out of the lead. He doesn't really necessarily need to be in the lead. He just kind of was the first character I placed. And so if you want to get more value, you can do something like that. Put Beast in the lead so he gets that strike attack as well. And the last thing I'll say is I would probably have Zenkai buffers for the blue and red and not really worry about Piccolo all too much. You can also, depending on what you're encountering a lot in the meta, things like that, you can also, you know, potentially use like Orange Piccolo, things like that. I'm not too like, I don't really love like Orange, like, okay, here's the deal. I used Orange Piccolo in a video really, actually I did the triple Piccolo superhero showcase. Who else is doing wacky teams like that? Anyway, I used Orange Piccolo and he popped pretty good, but this Piccolo might have been the most impressive character on my team. Like, it is what it is. The old purple Piccolo is kind of whatever, but Orange Piccolo, him getting shredded so easily is like, I actually just wish Orange Piccolo was actually just a tank character. Like, honestly, I just wish he was. He's trying to do too much, probably. Also, if you don't want to use Gokua, you can do Pan, by the way. All right, so what I would do, just to kind of move on from this specific part of this, is put in a blue and red Zenkai buffers. That's going to be... So, like, Zenkai buffing for movies kind of sucks. It kind of sucks, because what happens with them is... they have like single stat Z abilities, so like the sky, like things like that. It's not going to be the best. You'd have to dig through this a little bit, but that's how I would fill out the team. All right, let's go ahead and reset this. Let's go back to movies because I want to keep this going a little bit faster. And what we'll do from here is we'll also apply some secondary options. Say you don't have him. Well, that's not surprising. He's brand new. Maybe some people need to, get him down the line. What else can you do here? There's an option where you can do something like that, and that makes you lean a little bit more on Piccolo than you would probably like to. But the offensive utility with Pan providing support for this team and Beast as your linchpin / win condition, it's very high. So Beast can get into a position where he goes crazy. Obviously, Beast can be Janemba, could be a number of other characters, but that's also something on the table. If you want to go ultra utility, you can do something like that with the Gotenks in as well. That would be really good too. It's just when you start subbing out that third character, which is like the Red Beast Gohan, you probably do want to have another offensively inclined character, so the Gotenks isn't really helping a ton there. So on that same topic, you can go there if you wanted to do that. Again, Piccolo is a solid character. I just personally am not a huge fan. This is where things can get kind of fun. Since Piccolo is actually not like a strike character or anything like that, it doesn't really matter what you give him, right? You can put him on any team. He kind of functions however you want him to. A lot of his stuff is just completely general stuff. He's only got a 4K stat difference between both of his offensive stats. So what about this? Let's go ahead and grab him and put him with the Gammas. Let's make the Gammas freaking insane. Let's make the Gammas go crazy. Now, the problem with the Gammas on the movie team is that there's not a lot of utility for them in terms of allies that actually are like ranged characters. So the funny thing is, we're gonna put our last character as another free character, and that would be Gohan. You got a yellow, blue, purple. That works extremely well. I think that there's awesome utility with that, and you can also just Zenkai buff. I believe the Gammas get that Goku Zenkai buff, but not his Z ability is what it is. So there's that. With this setup as it is currently, you'd put Piccolo back in the lead because Gohan is getting that Z ability. Things like that can work for you. So keep that in mind. You can do something like this and make it work pretty well. And if you're looking for a replacement for, well, there's 2 free characters. I mean, seriously, if you don't have those characters, you just didn't farm them. And I can't help you with that. I can't help you with that. If you're looking for a replacement for the Gammas, though, that's where things get a little bit weird, because with this setup, how it is currently, you would want another offensively inclined character that can carry you. And there's not a lot of characters that aren't like, that are good enough to do that role, that aren't going to be characters that are higher rarity like these two, things like that. Also, I would steer away from this guy because double purple, don't really love it, but it is what it is. It's not the worst thing because there is that, there's some greens and stuff, there's utility for him. It's not the worst thing, but I personally would steer away from it. So that's more or less the movie team, and let's go ahead and break this down and take a look at event exclusives, because we're already kind of on the topic. Event exclusives is a kind of fun team. I did a tier list video where I talked about the best free characters. I think that Gohan was actually it wasn't a tier list video. It was just a ranking like top 10 or something like that. I think Gohan was the most recent one. Obviously, since then we got Piccolo, and they're sorted by order of release. I sometimes farm them, sometimes don't. Depends on how encouraged I am by them, how much I love them. Shout out to Tapion. I was sleeping there. I was actually really busy when he came out. I didn't bother farming him, but he was really good. The last one I really cared about was probably Goku Black and that yellow Goku. But anyway, moving on. Actually, before Gohan, favorite character. So we've already kind of got a backbone, and oh my god, do I love that. I absolutely love this. Oh boy. Oh man, I think I had an accident. Oh goodness. Oh, it just looks filthy. If you know what these characters do, you know why I'm like, oh, I love this, right? This is filthy. Heavy blast focus. Again, Piccolo's diverse. He has 1-in-1 most likely. Yeah, 1-in-1. Don't tell me he's for a melee team. It doesn't matter. I don't even care if he has like a 30% strike damage increase. I don't care. Piccolo can go wherever you want. He's a support character. Vegeta will pop like crazy. Anti-armor here. I think that Gohan also has anti-armor. These guys are going to shred. These guys are going to nuke. I actually should do a team with this. A video with this team. This will nuke, dude. This is actually super strong. And so the fun thing with this is they all have event exclusive base Z ability, so there's huge synergy. It's like, this is like what Legends Road should have become and been. This is why Legends Road is like whatever, because they decided to start Zenkaiing them, and then they were like, nah, we don't want to do this because we don't want that team to be too damn good. And so they spaced it out so far between the Zenkais to the point where it didn't even matter if they were doing Zenkais anymore, because the original characters already needed Zenkais, things like that. So this is what event exclusive should have been. So I really, well, Legends Road, but Legends Road characters are in this grouping, but you get my point. I really like this. Let's talk about some other candidates for this team. I like her on this team, but again, she doesn't really have, apparently she doesn't have the event exclusive Z ability. Not all of these characters do. That kind of really started being a thing like around Not even here, apparently. It was like not always a thing. Okay, right around here is when it started being a thing. So anyway, yeah, around the 4th anniversary. Okay, so anyway, I like her on the team. Potentially you can do that. I like these blue Goku and Vegetas. They have interesting utility options for them. I also do like Goku Black. Goku Black is super duper good. That Goku Black is really strong. Probably a top 3 Goku Black in the game. Maybe, and he may be too. Like, he may legitimately, off the top of my head anyway, including all the Goku Black variants, he's probably the 2nd best one behind the Ultra. So I like him a lot. Super Boo's okay, but I wouldn't use him with the purple as well on my team. And there's some other characters that are really strong, like this guy. But again, we already have Gohan, so there's a lot of just duplication. So what I would do is I would probably just do that. There's a yellow spot that you could potentially fill in with another character. I don't love that because he's melee. Gohan's also melee, and Gohan's not particularly good, unfortunately for me as a Gohan fan. You could do that for the defeater buffs, but also kind of a melee character. I love that, but that's kind of where things are, right? So I would just fill these last couple spots out with a couple of characters that are going to buff the team with blast attack and call it a day. So, okay. Goku Black's also a support type. Actually, no, he's a range type, but he has some support stuff in his kit. Anyway, so that fits pretty well, but how does it look if we try to make a more melee-based team? This is how it looks. We're going to grab that Goku because he's going to be awesome on this team. We're going to grab Broly because he's also going to be awesome on this team. In fact, Broly should get endurance most of the time, right? Applies pulling effects itself if there are 2 or more Saiyan or hybrid Saiyan enemy. So this can get kind of wonky right now because there's characters like the Gammas, the Janembas, there's some regen characters, some powerful opponent. It's not always you're going to have this, but I would argue that most of the time you're going to get this. And yeah, so that would work out pretty well for you. But nonetheless, Broly, I think, is a good plug-in character there. And there are some other interesting options in here that you could potentially use for different reasons. So last thing I'll say, we're going to take a look at his last team, which is going to be Regen. Now, Regen, it's kind of interesting because Regen's more or less about the same type of setup as like the movie team, where you're kind of just grabbing similar characters, right? Very straightforward, very easy to do, very easy to understand. Regen, you're going to grab similar characters and you're going to call it a day. Now, that's not necessarily the be-all, end-all because we can actually make this cleaner, we can make this better, and do something like that. That actually looks terrifying. That actually looks terrifying. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not even going to hold you. That looks terrifying. Now, the question is, would you use them over the purple cell? And the answer is definitely not. But similar to my Gogeta point, I think Cell is so much better than Piccolo that, like, I think Cell's better than Gogeta too by a decent margin. I think maybe the gap there is too big to where it's like, yeah, I probably just use Cell. Cause Cell, especially with that final counter, dude. Oh my god, that guy's crazy. Yeah, I don't know that I would still, even in that case. But similar, I guess, if you don't want to have another, if you don't necessarily need another win condition, hard-hitting damage dealer, you could make that argument. But again, that's kind of where things get a little bit wonky. But hey, if you don't have Cell, then there you go, more for you. You could also be an absolute nuisance with something like this and be super duper defensive and be annoying with utility, endurance, all that stuff. That could be pretty interesting too. But most of Regen is kind of whatever, like I was saying. We're not really too much worried about this. There are some older characters like this guy that could be useful. In fact, you can pair him with the blue Janemba as well, and that could work out too. You could also, again, pair older characters like this guy if you want to be, again, more annoying, but not really the most, best thing you should probably be doing, right? So in terms of bench for this, it really just depends on what you're going to run. So I'll pull up the optimal setup, which would be this in my opinion. And so I would grab, you guessed it, Zenkai buff abilities and call it a day. So we're going to grab, not you because you don't do it. Where's a good Zenkai buffer? Where am I? Oh, you know who I need? I need you, don't I? No, I don't. Never mind. Okay, so anyway, we're going to go. Oh, Yellow Cell could be a fun one. If you don't have Kid Buu, Yellow Cell, it's not a Zenkai buffer. Whatever! I'm not going to look at this! There are some. Take my word for it. I'm sure Baby is. Anyway, and before Blue GT, I'm going to conclude it. Also, grab the HPZ ability. You know who that's on? 21! Can you do something for me? Shout out to Dokkan with 21. So, yeah, I would do that. Alright, guys. If you guys enjoyed this, subscribe, hit that thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this, they should be clickable on your screen right now.